Hey y'all, I am working, so pardon the Bobby Brown headphones as getting to the root of it all. One was saying on one of my comments, it's so funny. I feel like I got the brothers I never had. I have a couple of brothers, but I wanted it to be the only girl in like a house full of boys. Didn't work out that way. So anyway, we're gonna jump back into this Cherokee um, Chickasaw Wars. So right now we left off about reading about the Seminoles. So we're going to start right here. Okay. We need a balance. We need a balance. Okay, y'all. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to go ahead and hide myself and read. Number 9, the Watauga Association. Main article, Watauga Association. Following the Battle of the Alamance in 1771, which brought their regulator movement to an end, many North Carolinians refused to take the new oath of allegiance to the royal crown and withdrew from the province. One of these, James Robertson, led a group of some 12 or 13 regulator families from near where present-day Raleigh, North Carolina now stands, into the west, believing they were in the territorial limits of the colony of believing they were in the territorial limits of the colony of Virginia. They settled on the banks of the Watauga River. After a survey proved their mistake, Deputy Superintendent Cameron ordered them to leave. However, the Cherokee leaders in the region interceded on their behalf, and they were allowed to remain, provided there was no further encroachment. In 1772, Robertson and the pioneers who had eventually settled in northeast Tennessee along the Watauga, the Dow, the Holston, and the Nolichucky rivers, met at Sycamore Shoals to establish an independent regional government known as the Watauga Association. The Cherokee would soon come to regret their generosity because these settlements and branches on the Cumberland River were to become the bane of their existence. And this is Tachi Dutch, a Cherokee chief, 1837, published in History of the Indian, or the so-called Indian tribes of North America. And that main article, Cherokee American Wars and the Second Cherokee War. And this is a picture of the hijack. 10. Transylvania Purchase. And this main article comes from Transylvania Colony. Now, in response to the first attempt by Daniel Boone and his party to establish a settlement inside the hunting grounds, the year after the beginning of the American Revolution, the Shawnee chief Cornstalk led a delegation from the northern tribes to the southern tribes and met the Cherokee leaders at Choctaw, calling for united action against those they called the Long Knives. At the close of his speech, he offered his war belt and dragging canoe to see Gunnisini accepted it, along with Abraham of Chilhowie, Dragon Canoe of Great Island also accepted belts from the Ottawa and the Iroquois, while Sabanica, the Raven of Choctaw, accepted a belt from Lenape. The middle towns were to attack South Carolina, the lower towns Georgia, and the overhill towns Virginia and North Carolina. The overhill Cherokee Offensive proved to be disastrous for the attackers. However, because the settlers had been warned by the beloved woman, the female equivalent of beloved man or chief, Nancy Ward, particularly those under Dragon Canoe, going up against the hosting settlements. Abraham of Chicasaw was likewise unsuccessful in his attempt to take Fort Watauga, and Savannah did no real military damage. After the failed raids, Dragon Canoe led his warriors to South Carolina to join in the attack of the lower towns. In response, North Carolina sent 2,400 militia, including Rutherford's light horse regiment, to scour the middle towns, while South Carolina and Georgia sent 2,000 men to attack the lower towns. In all, they destroyed more than 50 towns, burnt their houses and food, destroyed their orchards, slaughtered livestock, and killed hundreds, as well as put survivors on the slave auction block. In the meantime, Virginia sent a large force and North Carolina volunteers to the overhill towns. By this time, Dragon Canoe had returned with his warriors and calling for them to burn their own towns, send the women, children, and old below the Hiwassee, and ambush the Virginians at the French Broad River. Okanastada advocated making peace at any price, and the rest of the elder chiefs agreed. Dragon Canoe gathered those of like mind and migrated southwest, even as those from the lower towns poured into North Georgia. The Virginia force found Great Island, Sitiku, Toccoa, Tuaqua, Tuskegee, and Great Tellico deserted, with only the older leaders who had opposed the younger ones and their war remaining. Christian commander of the Virginia force limited the reprisal in the overhill towns to the burning of the deserted towns. The next year, 1777, the Cherokee in the Hill Valley, Lower and Overhill towns signed the Treaty of DeWitt's Corner with Georgia and South Carolina, and the Treaty of Fort Henry with Virginia and North Carolina, agreeing to stop warring and ceding the lands of the lower towns with those colonies, promising in return to protect them from attack, a promise that was ephemeral at best. What? Now, I don't understand why this skip down. Let me see if I can. Maybe they need to make up their mind. Either it's going to be on the right or the left at its best. Okay. The area to which Dragon Canoe and his band migrated was in what is now the region of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and here they established 11 new towns, 4 of which bore names of towns on the Little Tennessee: Tuaqua, Sitico, Tuskegee, and even Chota. He himself made his headquarters in the town called Chickamauga, which lent its name to the entire surrounding area, for which reason the frontiersmen and colonists called his band the Chickamauga or the Chickamauga Cherokee, though they were never a separate tribe. From here, Dragon Canoe began a guerrilla war that lasted nearly 2 decades and terrorized the entire western frontier from the edge of the Muscogee Nation north to the Ohio River and east into Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, as well as Georgia. Because of the activities of the Chickamauga, Cherokee, the frontiersmen, and sometimes the colonies and later states launched punitive raids against the Cherokee, usually against the overhill towns. However, large forces invaded the Chickamauga area in 1777 and destroyed all 11 towns. After that occurred again in 1782, Dragon Canoe and his people shifted west and southwest yet again, this time to what became known as the 5 lower towns, though they later number much more than 5, which were west of the edge of the Cumberland Mountains and below the series of navigation hazards in the Tennessee River Gorge due to their new location and additions of population from the understandably unhappy lower townspeople. He and his people began sorry, y'all. This is me in real life. You feel me? Okay. Let's just find me. I'm gonna go back. How do we get way back up there? Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Now, we don't need this open over here. That's not helping. I'm gonna go over here. I'm sorry. I'm wasting up my minutes, huh? Lower townspeople, he and his people began to be referred from this point as the Lower Cherokee. Their headquarters area was never invaded again until the final year of the wars. It was about this time that Dragon Canoe, now based out of Running Water Town, Amagayani at the current Whiteside, Tennessee, began to work extensively in cooperation with the Upper Muskogee, often as separate forces, but sometimes coming together for large operations. The Shawnee and other northern tribes were allies already, the Shawnee even sending warriors to fight with those of his band. The noted war leader Chickasee and his younger brother Tecumseh were among the Shawnee war parties who did so stand for nearly 2 years. The Cherokee, of course, responded in kind and sent warriors north. Okay. Just as Dragon Canoe and those of like mind among the other tribes of the South were coming together in a coalition to fight the Americans with the help of the British, the Treaty of Paris was signed in 1783. Dragon Canoe simply traveled south to the Pensacola and obtained the support of the Spanish of West Florida to continue his war, still maintaining relations with the British governor at Detroit. So this is our verification that Britain runs America. In 1788, the murder of Old Tassel, the headman of Overhill Cherokee and head chief of the Cherokee, along with several other pacifist chiefs, while on an embassy to the state of Franklin at the invitation of the latter, enraged the whole Cherokee people. More joined Chickamauga Cherokee in their raids or carried out ones of their own than ever before. And I'm going to stop right here. Peace and power. And I'll pick it up in another video.